Okay, so today we're looking at money and profit and loss in a bit more detail and percentage profit and loss. So let's look at some stages of maybe buying a car. So we have three stages here. The first stage is the car. It might be made by this dude in his car factory, happy guy with the hat. He needs to think about profit and loss, and he will sell this car to maybe a car dealership. And he'll sell that car for perhaps $10,000. Now the dealership will put that car on sale for $20,000. So for the dealer, this is the cost price. And the $20,000 would be the selling price. Okay, so I come along and I want to buy a new car, and I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to pay $20,000. I don't know how much the dealer has bought it for. That information is not privy to me. But I look at $20,000 and I'm going to say that's a bit too much. So I'll give you $18,000 for it. And the dealer says, yes, sir, I will take that. That's a great deal. Okay, so then I drive home in my car for $18,000. Hopefully it doesn't break down or get a flat tire. And the dealer then goes and checks his money. So how much money has he earned? Well, he's earned a profit. The profit was the selling price minus the cost price. So he sold it for $18,000 after a little bit of negotiation from me. The cost price was $10,000, and that means his profit was $8,000. So he's a happy man. Now, if you get a negative value here, if you take away the selling price and the cost price, let's say I was a super negotiator and I bought it for $8,000, that means you get minus $2,000, and that's a loss. So the money would be a loss. But he earned a profit off me because I'm not a very good negotiator. Now he's talking to his accountants, and his accountants want to know his percentage profit. So it's all about percentages when it comes to accountancy. So how do we work out percentage profit and loss? Well, percentage profit will be the amount of profit divided by the cost. That'll give me a decimal, and multiply by 100, and that'll give me a percentage. And the same formula for percentage loss. Usually, not always, it's based off the cost price. Sometimes a business would like to base it off the selling price because that includes a lot more overheads. So for example, if you think about it, that 10,000 that he bought it for and he sold it for 18,000, was there any expenses in between selling? Oh, probably. Maybe the showroom cost money, cleaning cost money, paying his wages cost money. So there's some costs in between his cost price for buying the car off the manufacturer and his selling price. So there's some costs. So sometimes percentages are worked off the selling price and not the cost price. But for the moment, we're just working off the cost price. Okay, so what was his profit off me? Well, his percentage profit will be the amount of profit, which is 8,000, divided by the cost price, which was 10,000, and multiplied by 100. Now we can do some, you can do this on a calculator if you wish, but we can also hopefully divide, well, we divide the top by 1,000, we're left with 8, and divide the bottom by 1,000, we're left with 10. Well, 8 over 10, well, as a percentage, we'd probably work out straight away as 80%. Now, if you wanted to do it in your calculator, you would do 8,000 divided by 10,000. That would give you 0.8, and then multiply that answer by 100, and you will also get 80%. So hopefully you can do it in your head with an example as simple as this. Okay, so make sure you've this formula somewhere in your notes. You might need to refer back to it. Both formulas probably be a good idea to have in your notes. This is a slightly simplified version of profit and loss. For this reason, doesn't probably take into account expenses, but perhaps in some online models there wouldn't be that many expenses between the cost price to someone buying something and then the selling price would be just all pure profit. But you can take that into account when we do some practical examples.